Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Beyond Insights. This is episode 10, and today we are with Waldo Oosthuizen, CEO of the Beancounter, an accounting practice here in Johannesburg. Today's episode is entitled From Counting Beans to Counting Dreams. So, looking forward to chatting to you today, Waldo, and getting to know a bit more about your practice and your service offering.
Amazing.
So, thanks for being here.
Thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate the invite, and always fun participating in these conversations and explaining how we do and what we do and how we've been doing it.
Yeah.
So quite excited to see where the conversation takes us.
Epic. I think maybe a good place to start, maybe a bit of background on the Beancounter.
Yeah, sure, of course. So currently the Beancounter is just over 17 years old in operations. It was founded by great entrepreneur, advocate for small businesses as well, called Marnus Broodwyk. Little claim to fame has the Shark Tank
Shark Tank. Everyone knows him from there.
2016. Yeah. And then also a great author for his 90 Rules for an Entrepreneur book that he wrote and brought out to help many small businesses across the country and across the world for that matter. So he started it 17 years ago. He's obviously from a small town called Harrismith and moved to Joburg with basically nothing. And I believe the Beancounter's name came from a Google search. I think a Yahoo search even back then, asking what's a good name for an accounting firm. So that apparently was the birth of the Beancounter's name, and he obviously hustled for many years. And he grew it to quite a substantial practice. And back in January 2021, we started our discussions for the possibility of me joining the Beancounter. And our discussions went about forwards and backwards for about 2 months. Of course, just nitty-gritties, ironing out all of that. And I then left the big property fund that I was a part of for about 6 years at the time. And we decided to pull the trigger, go over to Beancounter.
Take a risk.
Yeah, of course. And of course, there was a big ownership discussion that was on the table, which no one in their right minds would ever resist. So it was fun actually walking in as a business owner as well of the practice, and knowing that we're building this not only, but of course only for ourselves, but also for the amazing people that we have at Beancounter.
Yeah.
And that journey started with me joining as the head of business development, and that position lasted a full 6 weeks.
Wow.
6 weeks, yes. And initially we anticipated it to be 3 months, filling it out, checking it out. Marnus then said, well, I'm off.
Just take over.
I'm done. The 3 letters that now goes into your email signature. And of course, at the time you go,
there's no ways.
And I was like, okay, well, he's got faith in me. He's seen something. I'm sure I can do this. And it's just been a fantastic journey since then. Up and from there to now, we've more than doubled the practice size. We've implemented the most amazing tech tools and efficiencies that we've brought into the practice. Of course, to make our staff's lives a lot easier, for them to not struggle unnecessarily with manual tasks. We've expanded outside our South African borders. We've expanded into the UK, which we'll
definitely talk more about
that as well. Double in size in terms of staff. And it's just been an absolute incredible journey for the growth that we've seen over the last 3 years.
Amazing. No, it's I think the Beancounter locally is a household brand as well. So everyone knows the story. So it's done incredibly well. In terms of just looking locally, I know we're going to focus quite a bit on your international expansion. Locally, staff count, now what are we sitting at more or less?
So we are on about 58 staff members.
Okay.
Another 3 prospects joining over the next month or so.
Okay.
So looking at about 60 staff in total.
Nice. Yeah. And specific client industries that you focus on, or is it quite broad?
Locally, so locally quite broad. We have quite a vast variety of clients in all the different industries. Of course, every industry has its small little nuances, made sure that we're covered on all bases. So locally, no, we help South African business owners with their businesses, regardless of which industries they ultimately get into. Sure. Yes. Abroad a bit differently. Abroad we are doing a bit more of a niche focus in terms of industry.
What would you say your key focuses were on initially? And I suppose off the back of that, have those changed, or have you found that they're still key focuses today in your business?
For are you referring to specific industries and client focus?
Or like,
just
you
in
know,
general?
internal processes, the culture, like what's
sure.
really important to the Beancounter?
So I think a big value add to the success of Beancounter has been the business model and how we look at, of course, the compensation of most of our key staff and how we get them involved to also form a part of a, rather than an employee mindset, get them to go into an entrepreneur's mindset. So our people is the core and the heart of Beancounter. Our commodity, of course, is selling time and making sure that we keep our people engaged so that we can efficiently sell the commodity, being their time and our time. And so that'll always be the first and most important responsibility of Beancounter. The other core focuses is also to make sure that we do not take on too much or diversify where it's not really needed. The a really cool concept that they refer to in the book called Good to Great is the hedgehog concept, where sticking to what you know really pulls you through.
You don't want to be everything to everyone.
100%, 100%. And I think our entire business model speaks exactly to that. If you have a look at our package structuring, it's easy, it's practical. There's not many of them. We've added on 2 new products where we offer, isolated some of our already existing services that we do under our accounting structures. Isolated those to offer those in its individuality to some more businesses that would like to have a piece of Beancounter. And 2 services that we would really take, or functions we weren't really taking care of. We've now packaged those and offered them as well.
So what services do you offer as an accounting firm?
Sure. So essentially our the accounting structures or packages that we have in place is designed to comprehensively almost take care of everything.
So full service suite.
A bit of full service suite, yes, where and other than it seemingly looking like a cookie cutter solution, it's essentially not. And each and every business, whether they're in the same industry or not, or even in the same industry, not one of those businesses remotely look the same. The models change, the KPIs for the businesses change. And as much as we give a solution to business owners where they can rely on the fees that they're going to pay, it's going to be a fixed monthly retainer. There's no surprise fees coming up or people doing stuff without their approvals on it. They can rely on the fees and the structures. And they know exactly what the deliverables on those are. We sign ourselves to it. We know what the deadlines are. We know what we're supposed to be delivering.
Everyone's clear on the expectations 100%. From the get-go.
And by delivering peace of mind to them, ultimately, to go like, listen, the one thing that I am, and one of the core focuses that we've really made sure our staff is also aligned with is, let's take the fear out of finance. Business owners freak out when it comes to their finances. They don't understand it. They're not accountants, and so that's definitely one of the bigger differences at Beancounter as well, is the patience and really the engagements that we have with business owners that are really powerful.
It can be tricky to manage, I suppose, as soon as you grow and you acquire new clients. What are some of the hints or suggestions you could maybe give to other businesses that are scaling up and they don't want to lose that like personalized touch?
Sure. So I think with scaling, you can always make sure that you can still achieve that personal touch and make sure that your clients do feel like a valued client. Regardless of the compensation or the retainer that they're on or whatever they're paying you on a monthly basis. You need to make sure that even your lowest client all the way up through to your biggest client feels really valued, and that they are getting a very personalized service. It really goes back to, touches also on the relationships that business owners have with their accountants. In some cases are more honest than what they have at home, elsewhere, to be quite honest. And if you just make sure that your business model really speaks to the capacity that your staff offers, again, it comes down to any professional service has the time to sell. It's the commodity that you need to sell. And by making sure that that's efficiently optimized, you can still make sure that your staff are both engaged, that they are compensating well and in line with that. Taken care of. And if they are taken care of, and you know that the structure or the business model does not really drain them for the last bit that they have, they will inevitably give your clients a really personal feel. And
they're going to be dedicated and bought into that relationship with the
100%, 100%.
Absolutely.
Our staff love our clients. And they're also different in their personalities as well, where we have some of them they absolutely love going to clients. Client meetings at their offices are a quick coffee and a quick stop in, or inviting clients over to the offices. Those are like their dreams. Then we have the other crowd that really just focuses. They love the online meetings.
Yeah.
Their clients also prefer it. It's efficient. It's quick. And yeah, we've got multiple types of teams and personalities within the Beancounter as well. And as far as we possibly can, of course, linking up a personality match between our clients and who takes care of them.
Okay, makes sense. Cool. So my next question, I suppose, is again locally, and then we'll talk about the expansion. You mentioned that you doubled in size over the past few years, decade and a bit. What were your strategies in terms of like new business acquisition?
So I can't obviously not really speak to what the processes were like prior to me joining Beancounter. So I did take over a foundation, of course, that where that was built on. But the one key change that I feel we really managed to nail was the efficiency of getting in front of a new client and the efficiency of that client actually signing up with us. It's a easy, essentially 5-step process. It's book a quick meeting with me. I offer you a free consultation. Within that consultation, whether you sign up with us or not, I give you my time for free. And you can utilize that for any advice, guidance, questions. You call it. Take it, it's there, and that's what I offer.
No nonsense approach from the get-go. They know exactly what they're getting themselves into.
Precisely. Yeah. I don't have any presentations. I don't show them any stuff unless the conversation really requires us to go through a set of demo management accounts. Then I'll gladly do so. Or show them an example or a demo of the accounting softwares that we use. Then great. Then we do that. And then after that, within 4 minutes, they know exactly what the cost structures and fees are. They have that in their inbox. It's an online process to sign up with us. And essentially after signing up with us, you immediately get access to our onboarding department. So their calendar opens up immediately as well. And essentially you sign and you already confirm your meeting with my teams.
Sure. So very short deal cycle and then like onboarding, which 100%, is great.
Yeah. It was really, so just to speak to the strategy was just convenience for our clients, convenience for new clients to get in touch and get on board.
And I suppose as a business owner as well, when you need to speak to your accountant, you need to speak to your accountant, right? You never want to feel like, you know, my accountant's not available or not responding to my emails. So you're available, which is great for them.
100%. 100%.
Awesome. So just chatting about the decision to kind of expand into the UK market, what kind of informed that decision? Because it's not an easy decision to make, right?
It is. Well, it isn't that easy. No, you're right. When it comes a bit more organically, like ours did, it really assists with the decision-making process. It's a market that we essentially fell into a bit, and then through that, of course, the learnings that came from it were like, you know what, this isn't rocket science. It isn't as hard or as difficult as one would think it is, especially with the time zones that are aligned. There's no language barrier like with most companies anyway. And turns out that, especially now with all the changes abroad in Europe and across, especially the UK leaving and Brexit and all of those international topics, it has had impacts on their businesses. As much as we believe in or think in South Africa that it's we go
the
through
grass is greener.
Every country has its thing. Every
absolutely.
country has its thing. So without, and I'm always positive and optimistic about everything. And the UK actually opened up to the world. The English, in my opinion, back in the day, and actually prior COVID, were very close to only dealing with local. And I applaud them for that, sticking to their people and offering them the services internally. But it's gotten to a point now where business still remains business, and the businesses are now opening up. So the decision to go into that was the market's there, the market's ready, and we kind of like figured that out. We realized that it isn't as hard, and in pounds.
I mean, easy decision, right?
We earn pounds, yes.
Lovely.
So it wasn't really, I'm not going to say it's a complex discussion or that we had. It was really just based on 3 easy points.
So more similar than dissimilar, I guess. Any key differences or nuances that you've kind of noticed as you've expanded in terms of how the client's work, expectations, cultural differences, maybe?
So, I mean, the accounting cycle remains the accounting cycle from a technical
Different
perspective.
deadlines, obviously, based on different legislation and tax deadlines.
So it's small few changes here and there, some nuances, definitely a lot bigger focus. Not luckily we've already had it, but when it comes to the physical legislation for compliance and the protection of their data, we've got POPI, they've got GDPR. It's worlds apart, but it was really just another confirmation, getting through that, confirming that our client's data is really secured as well. So that was a massive win as well, I would say. Cultures, human behavior, funny enough, is quite similar globally. I think it changes from person to person, not really necessarily that big from culture to culture. But we found that the UK business owners, of course, I think that one of the biggest differences there is that tax discussions aren't really that difficult with them. They think they comply and they know what's supposed to happen and what their responsibilities are around that. Where South African businesses, our business owners, and we always make sure that they pay the least amount, of course, legally due. But I think now with a better view on the future, of course, I'm sure that there's going to be a change in mindset around it. But I think that was one of the things that really stood out.
Just speaking about like your marketability as the Beancounter in the UK, I think there's definitely something to be said about the quality of talent that we've got, not only at the Beancounter, but in South Africa 100%. And in the profession. Maybe you can speak to that. What are the kind of perceptions and feelings in the UK and abroad in general about the caliber of staff and skills that we've got in our country?
100%. I mean, even if you have a look at it, SAICA itself was rated #1 in the world. And just that speaks books about the quality that comes out of the board and them ensuring that those are the skill sets that they actually put their brand to. So not only the skills though, but the work ethic, the willingness of South Africans to contribute. And I think the one benefit that we have as South Africans, jumping through all these hoops that our country throws at us all the time, it really gets us to solve problems. It forces us to not just stare and to look into the one obstacle gets thrown into our on our way, but we actually bring that into our workplace as well. And you've got more people actually trying, figuring out and going at it, other than just trying to sit in a box in a corner and have that boxed mindset. So I think from a work ethic, the willingness, the attitude, and of course our skill sets and quality of some of the degrees and the educational parts of that we have in South Africa is really an exceptional level.
Of course, it's always a challenge to attract and to retain talent. So I know you spoke earlier to, not overloading your staff, making sure that they've got a healthy work-life balance, making sure that they're fairly remunerated and that sort of thing. That's, I often say culture grows on the walls, right? It's not something that you can kind of impose in an organization, but you get a feel for it. So it's great that you guys are growing and you're servicing a new market. Any other expansion kind of ideas, or you just want to kind of stay in the UK and then see where from there?
Well, I mean, this speaks to a promise I made everyone at Beancounter, and that promise was 5 years, 5 countries.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Sure.
Big promise.
Ambitious.
To make.
But goals
highly
are supposed
ambitious.
to be ambitious, right?
So I've got another 3 years. I need another 3 countries. But I think now that we are quite settled and comfortable in most cases for the UK, going over to Europe, there's a couple of countries that I've identified. There's a couple of opportunities that I've identified, and then a couple of resources. South Africans living abroad that we do have there as a bit of a card that we can play and use. So there's all kind of like the parts that I'm playing with and deciding where to next. But we're ready. My teams are really ready to get to expand their knowledge as well. We make sure that not only are we safeguarded by specialists on the legislation and the compliance and taxes within those countries, but we also make sure that we are getting a lot of the knowledge built up within the Beancounter, get our own staff educated on international taxes and just how the structures work and how you'd work together when we have clients with businesses both in South Africa as well as in the
abroad.
UK and so forth.
Yeah.
So,
And it definitely makes the staff more employable down the line. As
100%.
right? I mean,
100%.
to say that they've got international experience is a huge feather in their cap.
Precisely. And look, the one biggest thing that I would, if anyone ever leaves Beancounter, I would want them to walk away and say, listen, I actually learned a ton, and through the stepping stones and what you guys have learned me and what I have acquired from the Beancounter and knowledge-wise, that has actually allowed me to go and step into a new stepping stone. Of course, internally would be the best and keeping them, but I'm also a firm believer of if opportunity comes up and
you can't say no.
There's a big you can't say no. Then you can't say no. I mean, I myself went through the exact same thing, coming from a multi-billion rand empire, where I had to say goodbye. And I didn't want to. I was at a great place. I loved the company. It was excelling at my career, and similar to that, and me taking a leap of faith, and it was one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. I also want that. I would want that for anyone that ever leaves Beancounter.
I mean, you took 2 months to make up your mind on whether you were going to leave or not, right? To join the Beancounter. So,
precisely.
it was a good risk, but I think it paid off.
100%, 100%. Yeah. Well, and I left them also where I came from. I left them better than what I found them.
Absolutely.
So that's always important for me.
Yeah. So as the Beancounter scales, or any business that's, branching out into international territory, and you are introducing a new system or process, or how do you get that right? Because it needs to happen fairly seamlessly. Right?
Yeah. So I think the accounting industry, of course, has been disrupted by you guys, by Xero, especially internationally. I mean, Xero and you guys would just be the 2 first tools that come to mind, which has opened up the borders for the accounting industry globally, not only just South Africans for that matter. And utilizing that tools, you actually have access and convenience of engaging with clients through it. And if you really want to try it out, stick to something basic, something that's not going to get you into trouble, something like bookkeeping. Bookkeeping is the exact same across the world. There's no difference in it. So bookkeeping and reporting, as long as your clients are has a clear understanding of what your responsibilities are going to be in terms of data entry and capturing and reporting, and that they would need further assistance with tax structuring and so forth, financial statements and all of that, start with that. Start with something basic that you can't burn your fingers with, and get into the market. Just get a foot in the door, and bite the bullet and do it. That's the true, honest feedback, or not approach. The word goes.
Advice,
that's my advice. That's the pure easiest advice to say. Just close your eyes and go.
Close your eyes and hope for the best.
Go for it. You're gonna fly. I can guarantee you that.
And in terms of like adoption of a new system, if you're migrating from one system to the next, okay, maybe let's take Sift as an example. I don't like making these things too sifty, but it's a good example, right? Because I don't want to talk about other software either. So it's, obviously you guys fully adopted Sift towards the end of last year. Every single one of your team was certified as a trainer. So what did that look like? How did you get the team's buy-in from the word go?
Sure. So I think just in adopting new software internally, so on the back end of the shirt, you'll see that it says tech team member. Change management, of course, is a massive issue all the times. And what I realized that if you try to push a decision top down, you're going to fall flat on your face. Rather get peer-to-peer buy-in. And they'll start teaching each other, training each other, and getting each other to get some buy-in. So I came up with this really cool idea to put together a tech team. So we are 10 tech nerds. Love everything.
Want to get stuck in, understand exactly how it works.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it's a completely neutral. Everyone are members. Everyone brings their weight to the table, and just really important from that team is we have representation from each and every level members.
So it's not like an elitist group or committee. It's open to everyone.
No, I mean, we are the elitists, but we're made up out of members from everyone.
Once you're in the committee, you're elite. Yeah.
So the tech is made up of all the way from juniors all the way through up to me, and we've really taken responsibility for a lot of the stuff, for a lot of the tech. So what we would do at first is the research on a new software or a new app, similar to what we did with Sift. And we would try and test it out, see if we can break it, fix it, implement it. But really, really important as part of that process as well is make sure that the software can work for us. Not that the software is going to expect us to work for it. And by bringing that in, we've tried and tested it, we'll implement it amongst ourselves, and then we'll do this massive introduction to the company and to everyone to say, like, this is how we're going to do it. And when we do go through a planned launch, like we went through quite a massive migration in January, it's much easier knowing that the guy next to you is directly involved, was involved
and approachable
with the implementation,
because they're in your team.
100%, yeah. In most cases, even have admin rights to the software so that they can really get into the gist of what they need to do. And that has been the best decision, is to have multi-level involvement, get the buy-in from a committee or a handful of them, of your people and your team members, and they can assist then with the rollout.
It's an amazing idea.
To the organization as a whole.
And it works, clearly.
It worked like a bomb.
Because you guys are on Sift every day, so I can definitely attest to that.
Yeah.
Amazing. Cool. Thanks so much for joining us today. Yeah. Maybe closing remarks or advice to anyone that is considering expansion or, wanting some tips on growing their business locally.
Yeah. Locally, before you grow, make sure that you understand your commodity this time, and make sure that you have the best tools in hand. Make sure that you're not doing manual tasks unnecessarily. Even jump into AI, ask it the questions. If you don't understand it, ask it. It's easy as possible to use. And if you get invitations to demos, go and see what's out there. Just
be open to opportunities.
Take that 10 minutes, even if you tell the representative or the sales consultant to cut it short and tell you what the gist of it is, what does it do, what can it do for you, and be open to change. You'll have to be.
Yeah. Epic.
Thanks for having me, Jamie.
Thanks so much,
Thanks,
Waldo.
guys.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
Thanks for tuning in to the Beyond Insights podcast. Please like and subscribe on whatever platform you're listening to right now. And please share with any of your colleagues or friends or family members that you think might benefit from listening to this podcast. That's all from us. Until next time, see you then.